Good afternoon, y'all. It's been quite a while since I've done a driving video, and that's mainly because I've not had the time. And I didn't have much to say because, frankly, the winter, gets me in a non-talkative mood. But it is not winter, at least not today. It is, according to the thermometer on my dashboard, 84 degrees. I think it was only supposed to be around 80, so I don't know. Hey, Matt. Hey, Chris. But here we are, and it is warm and delicious, whichever way you cut it. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing well. Had a great meeting today with Coronation Media, which is a production house here in Gettysburg. And we're working on something. And they're on the same page as I am that we need to do it big. It's going to be something that's going to make a big splash. It's going to be like nothing you've ever seen before, coming out of Gettysburg and coming out of whatever. So yeah, so we'll do that. It'll be fun. That'll be later in the year. But right now we're scoping the project, so we're trying to see how big it is, what we're going to need, how much it's going to cost, and then we will find the funding for it. And I'm actually pretty confident that we will be able to find the funding because the people that we have lined up to be a part of this are, I would say, stellar. They are very qualified people, very impressive people. We're talking surgeon, ballistics expert, a forensics person, and a lieutenant colonel in the Marines who teaches at the Army War College, and other people. It's going to be informative, it's going to be entertaining, but it's also going to have a meaning and a message, and it's going to be powerful. Not a political message, but a message that I think we all often lose sight of when we study history, because we like the postcard version of the history. We like the, if you will, movie version of the history, and we like to think it was that way, but it wasn't. So that should be fun. What else? Tad and I were have been editing our Tavern Talks, and we are almost finished with the Valley Forge Tavern Talk featuring Ken Gavin, and that will be out soon, very soon. I'm waiting on a logo, and I'm waiting on just us finishing the final touches to the Tavern Talk, but they're going to start to come out over the next few months, and I hope you like them. I hope you do. And and so there's that. We've got a Ask a Guide tomorrow, live Ask a Guide with Jim Hessler about Pickett's Charge. So that's at 7 p.m. tomorrow night. So I hope you guys are ready, willing, and able to join us on the phones, in the comments, and so on and so forth. And so we've got stuff going on, and it's amazing, just amazing what a difference weather makes. Court, the other day, it was in the 70s, and Court texted me, and he's like, "It's beautiful outside. I'm back, baby." And I know exactly what he means, because 70s is good for me, for sure. But it was a cloudy 70s, so it wasn't like, perfect. So I was like, well, this is better, but it's not quite. Today is my kind of day. Oh, I hear somebody singing. Let's see if we can hear them. Nope, no more. Okay. And yeah, so things are going good so far. Let's see. Oh, the person singing was the radio in front of me, the car in front of me. So let's see, where should we go? We'll go out to, we'll go down Confederate Avenue. I'm done for the day, so I'm heading home. But I thought, we'll go down Confederate Avenue and say hi to everybody. Let's see. Matt says hello. Chris says hello. Phil, hello. Ken, 72 degrees on Little Round Top. Well, I don't know why my thing's saying 85, but that's good, though. That's good. 60 Seconds says, hi, Matt. Matt says, what's the status of 6Q oral exam? I haven't heard. When March came, he texted me and he said, well, I guess I'm going to be waiting till Mother's Day before I get to take the guide exam or the oral exam. And I thought that he had heard from the park that they're pushing it back again. And I said, no, they're pushing it back. And he said, no, I haven't heard from them, which is making me think I'm not going to hear from them for a while. So I don't know what the latest, that was a couple of weeks ago or a week ago maybe. But if he watches, maybe he'll be able to answer that question for us. Dustin, good afternoon. Warm in Kansas as well. All right, very good. Chris, any thoughts on the impending drawdown of Lake Crawford? I am happy. You better believe I'm happy. It's about freaking time. As I've been told, the park has been ordered to drain it, get rid of the not dolphins. What are they called? Beavers. Dolphins. But I also hear that there's an effort being made to get that area reclassified as like a wetlands or something like that, which is, if that's true, that's disappointing because that shows that orders are not being followed, and I don't like that, but whatever. I think it's going to happen. What needs to happen is the public, now that we're aware of this, the public needs to be vigilant and make sure that it's done. That's what we need to do. So we can't just sit here and wait. We know that they've been ordered, so we now must make sure that they follow through. For those of you who enjoy the estuary that's down there, you better get down and get your pictures and get your last looks, because it might not be here next year. Here, you know what? We'll go first day and then we'll come back. Ty says, hi everybody, Matt sounds in a good mood. Must have finally won one of those Steve Winwood lookalike contests he always enters. No, I didn't win, but I was first runner-up. Matt Gillespie makes a great point. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and hype. Hyping is I don't know exactly what hyping does, but it's an option. I don't know if it's an option if you're watching on your desktop, but if you're watching on your phone, as long as it's the YouTube app, it is an option for you. It's down by like, you gotta kind of scroll over, swipe over to the left or something like that. I've been hyping videos of friends. So yeah, so we do that there. Thank you for that reminder, Matt. Hello, Tori. Chris, hi, where you been? He says. I've been working. So Tad is on as a full-time contractor. He's not technically an employee, he's a contractor. And so, I have him meet me there at 10. Well, because I go in at 10. But when it was just me working, I would head in at 9:30, 9:45 or whatever. and I would do one of these driving videos in an effort to procrastinate. But I don't want to make Tad wait, and so that's that. So I haven't really been doing them in the morning. Plus, it's been winter, and I just, who wants to listen to me bitch about the winter? Not I, and I'm sure not ye. So I kind of was I was sparing you all. And also, I took the opportunity in the winter, since everybody was in a funk and nobody wanted to do anything but the bare minimum, including myself. I was like, let's take advantage of this and let's get some well-needed rest, because this coming year is going to be an action-packed year for addressing Gettysburg. Derek, I've been talking about Derek for a while. He's gonna move here. Originally, it was supposed to be January that he was gonna move here. And then that kept getting pushed back. Well, he's here in the state of Pennsylvania. Their new place is ready to move in on the 19th. So he's staying at his family's house until then, he and his wife. And then they will be moving here on March 19th. They've already got stuff in storage I helped them with. And once he's settled in, we're going to basically reevaluate everything. Everything I've built over the last 7 years, we're going to take a look at it all, and we're going to restructure it. I told him one thing. I said, because he wanted me, he's like, I want to see everything. I want to see how it all works. I want to see all your different platforms and this and that and the other thing. I said, fine. And I said, on one condition. He said, what? And I said, I want you to treat it like I invited you over to my house to see all my toy soldiers. And I set them up on the table, and I show you how I like to have them arranged for battle. And I want you to go, that's great. Walk over to the table, take your forearm at one end, and swipe it across the other, and knock all my soldiers and their formation off the table, and restructure them the way you think they should go. And don't think you're insulting me. I said, there's a few things that are mainstays and they're not going anywhere, but everything else is up for grabs. And if there's things that we need to get rid of, let's get rid of them. If there's things we need to add, let's add them. And I keep saying this to him. I'm like, you're talking a good game. You're talking a good game. And I'll give you enough rope to hang yourself. But so we've got a bunch of plans especially for the YouTube channel. Podcast gonna stay the same. That's not changing. Maybe, window dressing maybe, but otherwise it's basically staying the same. But the main focus that we have to really hone in on is YouTube. And we've got several things in the works that we will mostly shoot this year. I don't know if we'll put them together and release them this year. Some things we will. But a couple of series that we're going to do on YouTube. So need the rest. So that's why I kind of took it easy this winter. And now we're emerging from our shells, from our caves, ready to take on a new year. So looking forward to that. Michael McClellan says, I like your videos. Thank you. I appreciate that. Wonder Monkey says, wow, hooray. Matt Gillespie says, it's good to see Wonder Monkey. It is good to see. It's good to see all of you guys. Wunder Monkey, that's right. I love when my stupidity catches on. Jack Mack says, it's cold. It's 80 today, freezing cold. Oh, you poor thing. Tori says, almost 70 here, sweating outside. Kevin he's calling for Barbara. Barbara. Come on, Barbara. Come on, Schwartz. Chris says, what is Lake Crawford? That is the lake that the beavers caused down on Crawford Avenue. Rock and Roll's All-Stars, excuse me. I never read closely what the names are. For the 199 super chat, thank you very much, sir. Says, good afternoon, good to hear from you, from Lieutenant Dan. Thank you. Matt Gillespie, $4.99. Hope you had your coffee today. You know what? I only had 1 cup. I usually have 2, but I didn't have time to go to Bantam and get my second. So that means I'll get one tomorrow. Thanks to you, sir. Thank you very much. BKW, good to see you again, sir. Afternoon. Everybody's out walking today. I'm gonna do that when I get home. I'm gonna make Cindy go for a walk around the neighborhood with me. Matt Gillespie says he always enjoys an AG driving video. If you hear a humming as I drive and it annoys you, I'm sorry. I had a flat the other day, and can you believe a Nissan Rogue does not come with a spare wheel? It comes with a donut. I mean, come on. Luckily, I had it scheduled for service yesterday. So, put the donut on, had to drive around with it for one day. It was the rear right wheel that got the flat. Picked up a nail, it turns out. But part of the servicing was tire rotation, so they rotated the donut to the front wheel because they didn't have my brand of tires, which is the stock brand that they put on all the Rogues. They didn't have any. I guess they ran out. So they had to order more, and that arrived today, and so I'm going in Friday to have it replaced. And it makes this annoying hum, and I'm sorry I just went past the Virginia Memorial Loop because I wasn't paying attention. Ty says, so you want Derek to be my older brother when I was trying to play with my Thundercats? Yes, exactly. I hope he doesn't forearm swipe your driving videos. No. Those aren't. That's one of the mainstays. Where has Tom Canavan been these days, says Tori. No, they couldn't patch it. The nail was, I think he said, too close to the edge or something like that. Because that was my first question. I'm like, you couldn't patch it? And they're like, no, it was pretty bad. I was like, great. Anyway, Tom Canavan, texted him a couple of weeks ago because one of our listeners, I believe a teacher from Canada, or Canada, if you prefer, if you want to be fancy, reached out to me a while ago, asking to put me in touch, or put him in touch with Tom, so that he could have Tom talk to his kids this year for the anniversary of 9/11. And so I put him in touch. But Tom is obviously, as you may well understand, Tom's going to demand this year. It's the 25th anniversary of September 11th. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. I mean, that's a quarter of a century, if I'm doing my math right. And I was 23 when it happened. I think I just turned 23. And it is I don't know yet exactly how, but it is a defining moment in my life. It shattered a lot of my preconceived notions and assumptions about the world, our country's security, the competence of our government, and all these other things. And so I've spent the last 25 years trying to recapture, I guess, what really can't be recaptured, which is that sense of the good life on September 10th, 2001. It can never be. We can never have that again. Hopefully a future generation or two or three will, but I'm glad I had it though, because I at least know from the early years of my life how good things can be, or at least how good we can be at deluding ourselves into thinking things are good. Maybe that's more the reality of what it was we were living in a delusion and that bubble was burst on that day. I don't know, whatever. But can you believe it's been 25 years? I can't either. And so I'm sure Tom is in demand to talk to a lot of people, but he's been busy. But he said he will be back and around. You know, we love Tom. I love Tom. Tom's a great guy, and he's always good to have around. And I do miss Tom when he goes on these periods of absence, because I like when he's around. He, I don't know, he's just an interesting guy, and I will never be impressed with the fact, not the fact that he survived 9/11, but his specific story of survival. It's a miracle. I don't know how else you can put it. And so yeah, I love when Tom's around. We laugh. So it's that New York humor, and he's just a good guy. He's a great guy, very supportive guy. Doesn't need to be. I would enjoy him being around even if he didn't support us, but he does, and of course that endears him to me a little bit more. But still, he's a good guy. But he'll be around. He'll be back. Okay. 81. Okay, Ken. That's what I thought. 81 sounds right. Kunal, I hope I'm saying that right. What were those cannons back there? I don't know when you saw what cannons, but I'm assuming it was, well, there's cannons everywhere, but we're on the Gettysburg battlefield, and the long line of cannons you probably are referring to were the Confederate line. So they were all Confederate cannons along the Confederate line. We are now on the Union line. And then we're heading on the Emmitsburg Road. This part of it kind of that we're coming up on is kind of a no man's land during the battle. Didn't want to be stuck in this road or crossing this road if you were a Confederate, because you wanted to be stuck in the road because it was lower than the ground, but your officers kept prodding you along to cross and climb the fence and attack the Union position on our right, which is, let me see if I can get it for you there, up there on the ridge. Good afternoon, Phil Vermeulen. Is that right? Did I say it right? Good afternoon to you. Phil says, golly, 25 years, I was still in high school. Same week, my dad, Uncle John, and his boy and my brother went to Antietam, Harper's Ferry. My father wants us to still go and show we are patriotic, due to go. Yeah, those are great places to go, and that's a great tradition. I mean, on that anniversary, too, to go to these other places of American tragedy, that's actually kind of moving that you guys would do that. And I think you should do that every year. That's a great family tradition to do. Oh, Ken, you can see me on the Millerstown Road. What do you got, binoculars up there? Hey, Barbara. All right, Barbara's here, everybody. We can relax. We're gonna go over to Culp's Hill. I would love to take you to Little Round Top, but I always lose service there, and it ends the transmission for all intents and purposes. And I am sorry that the camera keeps going all over the place. It's just the way it is. Mr. Gutty, hello. Barbara says, welcome back. Sorry I missed the beginning. It's okay, Barbara. It's okay. Luckily, you'll be able to go back and watch it. Kevin says, what was that comment about American tragedy? Phil was saying that he and his father and uncle and I think a couple other relatives went to Antietam and Harper's Ferry when the 9/11 attacks occurred, and they, at least as I read, maybe I misunderstood it, but his dad wanted to make a tradition out of going there on that time, and I thought that was a good idea to go to these other sites of American tragedies and reflect. Places like Gettysburg and Antietam, and I'm sure Ground Zero and other places, I don't know what they do for the people who were there. So the veterans of these battles, people who survived at the World Trade Center or had somebody go down in Shanksville, or people who survived at the Pentagon. I don't know what it does for that victim or veteran, depending on what we're talking about, class of people. But I know for me, to come here and go sit somewhere on the battlefield and just, if I know enough about what happened there, or even if I know a little, it doesn't even really matter. Just to know that, if I'm there on a bad day, I'm having a real shitty day, and I go to one of these places, I know my day isn't as shitty as it is for the guys who were there. And I shouldn't complain as much as I do. I mean, I'm only human, and we all do it. But I think these guys would have loved to have lived another day to complain about things that we complain about. Or even get to the age where you can complain about your back hurting. or I can't sleep through the night without having to get up to pee, or whatever the gripe may be. A lot of these guys die in their 20s and their teens, and they don't get to make their 40s and start to get the beer belly and all these things. And I did. And so, whatever it is that I have to deal with, pray God, is not going to be and has not been as bad as what they did. And it also tells me that whatever we're going through as a nation um, can be overcome, and this too shall pass. And I think that's why battlefields are so important to preserve and to respect and take care of. And, that's why and I think other people get, upset or angry when we see, somebody put a picture up from their trip to Gettysburg and it's of his girlfriend and she's wearing lingerie and she's straddling a cannon. Like, we don't like that because that's not what this is about. Those are not phalluses. Those are cannon, and those cannons deliver death. And it's not. It's just not nice. And so we get upset about things like that, and people climbing on monuments. I remember one time at the base of the Slocum equestrian statue, I saw a family from New York eating KFC. They had the bucket splits, the bucket and all the sides splayed out on the frickin' base. And they were eating, having a picnic. Tori says, kind of sad I can't visit my battlefields. Still, hopefully one day. Or battlefields still. Hopefully one day. Why can't you visit them? BKW says, we plan on visiting the Shanksville Flight 93 Memorial on our way out to Gettysburg this summer. I want to make a trip out there this year. I keep saying it every year since I've moved out here that I got to go out there, and I never do. I'm going to drag Rich Condon out because he used to work there. So I'm going to be like, Richie, you and I are taking a day trip. Oh, your battlefields. I get what you're saying, Tori. Okay, I gotcha. Well, okay, Tori, so tell me about that. Would you want to? Do you think that would be a healing thing for you? What would be your purpose for visiting one of the battlefields in Iraq that you fought on as a veteran? What does that do for you? Why do you want to do that? And while I'm waiting for your answer, Mr. Gutty says, yes, exactly. Haven't been to other Civil War battlefields yet, unfortunately, but I've found being at Gettysburg does help put your own life in perspective. Yeah, it does. It does. And especially because so much of my early adulthood, late teens, early adulthood, was so affected. I don't want to say influenced. It wasn't necessarily influenced. Like, I didn't walk around in a uniform every day or ever. But it was affected in some way by first the movie Gettysburg, and then shortly thereafter a visit to the battlefield. And from then on, it was this obsession. And I mean, like, when we'd come here, my dad and I, and sometimes my sister and her friend or a friend of mine would come or whatever. But it was always me and my dad. And we would come here 4th of July weekend, all the stuff going on, reenactment, whatever. And it was like I could sigh, I could breathe being here, and I did not want to leave. Every fiber of my being was alive here, and it wasn't back in New Jersey. And if you've been to New Jersey, you understand why. And then we'd leave, and all year long I'd think about coming back here. And as we'd get a month away, 2 weeks away, a day away. I just get excited like a kid on Christmas Eve. And then we'd come down and I'd breathe easy again. For like 8 years, it went this way until I finally said, fuck it. I'm opening a bicycle tour company because there isn't one. And we're using guides. And that's the way to see the battlefield. And I opened a bike tour company, and that was my first foray down here. I had to get here. And I knew even when I was young, just from visiting, I was like, this is definitely a place to go, to move to if you A, have a business idea and can make it work, or B, you're retired. Because it really isn't, and it's still sort of true today, although we have a lot of people who commute here or from here now to work in like Frederick or DC or Harrisburg or York. And they moved here because it was cheaper than those areas. And so it changes the flavor of the place a little bit. But again, they have to work elsewhere. And that's just because those industries just aren't here, and I hope they never get here, because that means everything will be developed. And Adams County is a beautiful agrarian, agricultural county, and to see it developed is really I'm like the crying Indian in that old littering commercial, the Italian. That's how, I literally see his face when I look and I see a new neighborhood go up, or a new solar farm go up. And, it's whatever. There's nothing I could do about it. But it's still sad. All right, now, I think we've hit it all. We'll go up north of town, and then I'm going to head home. Don says, hey Matt, my daughter bought me a pound of Little Ground Top for my birthday last week. I love it. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Tim Day, you might know that name from various comments, and the Digital History Pioneers Foundation. He's in town, and he said he went in to get some Little Ground Top, and they're sold out. He got into town Sunday. They were sold out already. And they've been putting out more. One of the guys that works for Cindy loves it, he and his wife. And I often see them in there getting their bag o' Little Ground Top. And I tell you, the Alex and Chad, the couple that own Bantam, and myself couldn't be more tickled, if you will, about that fact of life there, that you guys are buying up Little Ground Top by the ton. So thank you very much. And they're actually working on new bags, and those bags will have they're actually going to be like specially made bags for Little Ground Top, with the label like already printed into the bag. It's not a sticker. And there will be a QR code. There will be a QR code on the back of the bag, so that it'll be easier for you to reorder. Matt Gillespie says, I'm glad you're getting to live and work in Gettysburg. I'm happy for you, Matt. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. I'm happy for me, too. Ken says, I start smiling when I get to Harrisburg. Yeah. Me, too. Harrisburg was like... So Harrisburg is when I start to feel good. And every mile as I go south towards Gettysburg, I feel better and better and better. And it works in the reverse. Every mile away from Gettysburg, in any direction, I feel worse and worse and worse. 10 miles is where I start to feel kind of blah, and anything beyond 10, it's just misery, just plain old misery. Michael says, what was the first tour you produced? What do you mean by produced? The first tour I ever, well, I guess produced meaning put together and put out, that would be with Getty's Bike Tours. I don't remember specifically the first one. That's a shame that I don't remember that. But it would have been in June. Actually, no, I know I don't remember it because I was at my sister's wedding and my friend Pete was down here running the business in my absence, and we had our first tour. And he sent me a text message from the first tour. So that's why I don't remember it. But yeah, I've been, I put them out for 5 years that first time, and then I sold it in 2010. And then Bob Steenstra, the guy I sold it to, he was like my number one guide. He loved doing the bike tours, and he actually got like a special dispensation to only do bike tours. And because they used to have quotas for the guides, like how many car tours, how many bus tours. And he's like, I just want to do bike tours. Can I just do bike tours? And they're like, yeah, sure. That was a guy named Clyde Bell. He was really good to us. Yeah, so I sold it to Bob. He ran it quite successfully, better than when I had it. And then he sold it to a kid who worked for him named Jake. Jake had it for a few years, heard I was moving back. He's like, do you have a job lined up? And I was like, actually, no, I'm looking for one. And he's like, well, I could use some help. And I was like, all right. So then now I was working for the business that I started and used to own. And then at the end of that year, he offered me half of the company back because he was offered a job with a good salary and benefits that he just could not pass up. And I told him he'd be an idiot to do that. And I said, this would be great because running the bike shop's pretty easy, and it would help me to focus on building the show. And so that's what we did. So then I owned half of it until the show started taking over my time. And then I unloaded my half of it. And then I bought it back. So I bought it back 2 years ago and have been really wanting to start it up again. But I just don't have the time. And if I can find someone who would want to manage it day to day, I would get it going again. But until that time comes, you know, it is what it is. So I'm going to take the long way home today. Got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes, and I forgot the rest. So I'll take you up around the Peace Light, through the part of the first day's battlefield that we have not gone through yet. That would be the side with the railroad cut. And then we'll go out Route 30 towards Cashtown. Tori says, yeah, kind of nostalgic base, soak up the environment, take stock, see what remains, remember. Also just to see what the country is like now after the fact. Okay. He said, I heard that some areas in Iraq celebrate what we did there, which surprised me. I guess it was the start of something that they are today. Okay. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but like the Iraqis weren't the problem. It was after we took the country that Iran started supporting everybody that's going to go in and make a mess. Isn't that kind of what I didn't pay close attention. I was young and beautiful at the time, you know. But Renzel family says, yes, I'm in Gettysburg right now. Well, welcome. Eric says, my wife and I feel like the Griswolds arriving at Wally World every time we visit Gettysburg. That's pretty good. I can almost hear Chariots of Fire playing. Yeah, it is a special place. That's it, wearing sunglasses. It's dark out and we are wearing sunglasses. Hit it. Thank you, guys. Need a manager for it at all? Yeah, basically. And I've restructured it. Like, we're not holding a fleet. We're only, well, I won't say what we're doing. But, yeah, I've restructured it so that it's actually it's actually designed to be a work from home type of a job for the manager. So, yeah. Work from home, you still have to be here though. That's the thing, because there might be times where you'll need to go out. Barbara says, are you smoking again? No, it was a joke. I heard the gum earlier. Yeah, I'm chewing gum. Have you heard anything interesting about the mayor's resignation? I was wondering who was going to be the first, and I'm not surprised it's Barbara. Oh, have I heard? Let me just put it like this. The people that are blindly defending him are going to eat crow. It is bad. We'll just leave it at that. That's what I've heard. I've heard it from such sources as to believe it. In other words, I'm not listening to Facebook. I'm not listening to the average Joe that I overhear talking in the supermarket. These are people who would be in the know. And yeah. No, to answer your question though, Barbara, I'm not smoking again. That was a reference to the Blues Brothers. And I think did they have half a pack of cigarettes? I forget how many cigarettes they had in their pack. But no, I'm not smoking again. I can't stand the smell of cigarettes, and I wonder how I put up with it. Like, and how people put up with me stinking like an ashtray. I really, every time I smell a cigarette or I see somebody smoking a cigarette, I think it looks stupid, it smells awful, and I'm embarrassed that I used to smoke it. Now, I do enjoy the smell of a pipe. I do enjoy a cigar. I don't like the smell of a cigar after I've smoked it. I don't like smelling a cigar. I think the pipe is the most fragrant and aromatic of all of the tobaccos that you can smoke, at least that I've tried. And yeah, but I don't smoke a pipe. Smoking's bad, okay? Tori says, no, there were never really any hostile Iraqis. They came from Syria, Iran, Eastern Europe, and France. Yeah, France, what a shock. Yeah, that's what I thought, that the Iraqi people were not giving us the problem. Vundra Munke says he's trying to make it down for Memorial Day weekend. That would make 3 in a row for me. Very good. By the way, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, April 12th, we're doing a live Ask a Gettysburg guide with 3 guides and 1 local historian. That would be Britt Eisenberg, Kevin Bryant, and Lish Trott as the licensed field guides. And everybody's favorite friend, Cody Aish, and his hair helmet. I only make fun of his hair because I'm jealous of his hair. But he will be there as well. It is sponsored by the Gettysburg Foundation, the Seminary Ridge Museum and Education Center, Community Media, and the Digital History Foundation, ladies and gents. It's a Sunday. I know that's odd, but it's at 2 o'clock. He'll be done by 4:30 at the latest. Billy Webster is coming down. He's going to open the show with some music from his album of Civil War rock songs called "Marching Through Georgia." Do a little bit of that for you there, and then we're going to get to an Ask a Guide. This will be a recording for our anniversary episodes, or episode, I should say. And so it's going to be an overview of the battle. We've done those before, but there's kind of like a special purpose to doing this show. We were approached by the totem pole people a couple years ago, and they wanted to link up with us to kind of introduce the history of the area to the theater crowd of the area who may not be particularly clued into the history. And at the same time, introduce our audience to what they have to offer out there at the theater. And it's a pretty cool theater. It's got an interesting history here. Probably most notably, Edith Bunker, Jean Stapleton, and her husband owned it and ran it for a number of years. And when she was off from doing All in the Family, she would come here, where this is where they lived and they raised their kids. And she would come here and run the theater, and they do plays and stuff, and they do really good productions. They'll often do a Christmas Carol out at the Majestic during Christmas season, and they do plenty of other shows during their season at their theater. And so, actually, I think we're the first show this year for that. So. I don't know what that means, but no pressure, right? But anyway, tickets are now available for the public, the general public. There's a link on our Facebook page. I'll put more links up. We also, if you go to our YouTube channel, you'll find a video that we did with Ryan Gibbs, who is the director of the theater, and we talked about a little bit of history of the theater and what we're going to do on our show. Since we recorded that, we have more details for our show, more of an idea of what we're going to do. And seeing that it's an Ask a Guide, that means you get to ask the guides in person, on microphone, so don't be shy. And if you are shy, bring a friend along who's not shy and make them ask the questions for you. But it should be fun. It'll be great to see you guys, and we hope that you'll help us. What's the word I'm looking for? Not convert, but help us turn. I don't want to say turn the theater people on to history, but yeah, turn them on to history. That's what we're trying to do, and it'll be fun. We're gonna have a good time. And then just I guess a weekend after that is our first Get Car Tour at the wheat field, I believe. I should probably do a better job at that. But yeah, it's at the wheat field, and it should be a lot of fun. Kevin Tracy says, I play the theme from Gettysburg movie every time I drive on the battlefield for the first time when visiting. I did that on my way in to take the guide exam in the hopes that it would bring me more luck than I deserved, and it didn't. It didn't, but it was still moving. Tori says, I could possibly find a manager, maybe put you two together. Does the manager live here? Babra says, oh, I didn't pick that up. Half a pack, yes, okay. Rahul says, the USA dirty. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Soon, you won't be able to tell us apart from where you are. Robert says, pipes can also have flavored tobacco. Yes, they do. And I find that when you have flavored tobacco, it only tastes the best the first time out of a clean pipe. Brand new if possible, but clean nonetheless. And then it just tastes like tobacco. Like you could taste the cherry, or you could taste the whatever the hell it is. Ghost of Sickle's Leg says, holy hell, I finally caught a drive. Yeah, you're back. You're back. Look at the beautiful view. Mr. Gutty says, very much looking forward to the 12th. Good. So you'll be there. Very nice. Be sure you introduce yourself as Mr. Gutty so I can put a face to the name, which I'll then forget the face, but at least I'll try. Tori says, might make the 13th is another lecture I want to catch up on. What's on the 13th? On a Monday? Always the Joy of Cooking says, oh, how I enjoy the fragrant smell of a good pipe of crystal meth. Ah, yes. You can't beat that. You can't beat the real thing, right? Just gonna give you a shot of the historic Cashtown Inn, which you'll recognize from the movie Gettysburg. Also history. Here it is. They've got really good food here. I don't know what their restaurant schedule is, but go online, look, and when you come and visit here, it is worth a trip out to the Cashtown Inn. Get their breakfast. The breakfast is good, but I hear all the food is good. So have at it. Ghost says, the theater crowd, the one your mayor was involved with. No, not that one. This is a different theater crowd. He wasn't just involved, he founded it. 6 questions, Lance. There he is, 6 questions. I've been asked twice about your guide exam status. Please, if you haven't already been asked and I didn't see comments, please tell us, what is the latest? Do you have a date yet? What's up? Zip around this guy here. Kevin says, oh, always you bring back distant, almost faded out memories of my misspent youth. As I recall, it had a lovely man-made fragrance. Thanks for the memories. Obviously, you're talking about the crystal meth. I actually wouldn't know what it smells like, but after watching Breaking Bad, I assume it has a very man-made chemical smell. Although maybe not Walter White's. Maybe it smelled like nothing because it was so pure. Who knows? It doesn't really exist. Or does it? Barbara says transition. That might have been a good word. Transition into the history world. But we don't want them to leave their love of theater, of course. We're just saying there is plenty of drama and theater in the Civil War. Robert, yes, we want to definitely promote history. We want to promote these people visiting Gettysburg, not just for a restaurant, but visit for the history as well. I'm sure many of them have visited Gettysburg. Plenty probably live in Gettysburg. But are they necessarily history people? That's what we want to know, and that's what we want to find out. We want to convert people. We want the masses. Did you ever see that photo of Gene Stapleton and Alice Cooper together? Truly bizarre. I feel like I have. Or that is such an odd pairing that I can picture it, even though I might not have. I don't know, but I feel like I have seen that. I almost swerved, but I figured I'd get in trouble if I did and they killed themselves. So I didn't. But I saw them coming and I am so to swerve. Now, if they were riding manly motorcycles and not those crotch rockets, that's a different story. Leech our nerdiness. Oh, that's a good one. I like that. We've got too much nerdiness, ladies and gentlemen. We need you to leech it. Leech some of our nerdiness from us. I don't know, that might be weird. Mike, you are still waiting to schedule your first oral exam. Okay, well, what's the date? Is it like March 35th or something like that? Come on, Schwartz. We're pulling for you, Mike. We're pulling for you. Hopefully you'll get a call or an email soon. So, Mike, I remember when you texted me and you said, oh, probably won't be Mother's Day now before I do. And that wasn't based on any new information. You were just guessing. But have you found out anything new? Have they said, oh, let's kick the can down the road a little more? Or is it still on track to hear from them in March? Mr. Gutty says, as a former theater kid, I can say, in my experience, that the overlap with history is definitely there. Well, I mean, that's where the good stories are, right? Why make something up when you can just adapt a real life situation to a play or a film or whatever? A lot of classic plays and musicals are based out. There you go. Oh, the person's local? Okay. Yeah, ask. Kevin says, never saw that photo, always have to search it out. The 13 is a lecture on Mary Jemison. Okay, yeah, I think I saw that. Kevin, thank you very much. Tori says, Optimum. Now that smells great. Wouldn't know about that, but I hear opium smells great. Babra says, well then, maybe expand knowledge. Yep, that's a good one too. Jesus Christ, what kind of... Man, this is a group here. Tori, Kevin says, Tori, I used to love chewing opiated hash. Wow, such a long time ago. Man, I'd like to have a beer with you. Tell me some stories, Kevin. Six questions says, look on no brains, talking about the motorcycle. Yeah, I figured, Mike. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification, though. Speeding on a crotch rocket through traffic is one of the best thrills you can do, and it's truly a rush. Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. Six questions says, no, the last email I received was on December 22nd. Come on, Park. Come on, guys. I know you're under a lot of stress and strain, but let's get these people tested already. Come on, man. Come on, man. What does the Addressing Gettysburg show schedule look like this week? We have Jim Hassler tomorrow, live stream 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Pickett's Charge. Bring your Jim Hassler and Wayne Mott's Pickett's Charge book to be autographed in the comment section. Gaslight says, do you think that the American Civil War casualties were lessened by the lack of European style battalion guns, i.e. artillery companies, the accompanied battalions into the line? Oh, you're talking like an infantry company with the artillery? Do I think they were lessened? But no, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know how you would be able to gauge that, but no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know why I don't think so, but to me it just doesn't sound like a thing. Kevin says, oh, I got stories. People like to hear them, say I should write life story. When I get back down there, I'd be glad to buy you a beer. Oh, you don't need to buy me a beer. You can just have a beer with me. I appreciate the buy, though, but you don't have to. Yeah, well, if you ever get down again, let's do it. Six questions says, let's get these people tested. Sounds like I have a social disease. Well, you know, some people might argue that history nerddom is a form of a social disease. Not in the manner you're talking, but, you know. Ghost says, I have a Hessler signed novel on sickles. I recommend it. A great read about great American hero and savior of Gettysburg. A novel. Mr. Getty says, 6 questions. If being a Getty's nerd is a social disease, then I will happily say we all share the same infection. That's right, we do. Gaslight Studios rebooted says lack of battalion guns removed, in my opinion. A lot of close range fatalities and wounds from canister shot, Napoleonic and other European conflicts. Those, I don't know. I'll have to look and see. I think it's totally different because the range on these weapons was greater, that they didn't get into close combat as much as Napoleonic Wars. I don't know. There's a chart in Gettysburg by the numbers, at least I think it is. I'll have to look and see if it specifies, but it's got the wounds received. I don't remember if it's in the Civil War or at Gettysburg, so maybe somebody in the audience can clarify that for me. But I'll have to look at that and see how many wounds were sustained from artillery. I know it's not as much as bullets, but I don't know. It's an interesting question. All right, I've got to get going. Lest you know the secret location of the Mac Cave. And so you guys have yourselves a great day. I'm glad I could share the beautiful weather with you and a nice conversation. Thank you for entertaining me throughout it. And I'll try to do these more often as the weather turns. And we'll see. We'll see. Have a good one.